Hey, welcome back. It's week 5. Believe it or not, we're in week 5, you guys. So we're halfway there, getting through the program. Thanks for coming back. A number of you are individually online, and a number of you in the office there as a group. So that's great. Just a quick recap. We had our planning for success. We had our database. We had our lead gen. We've got all of our weeks out of the way. If you haven't had the chance to finish up your work for the previous weeks, I'd encourage you to get that done. I did get a couple of people sent in some updates and some reports to me this morning, so thank you for that. My apologies, didn't get back to you to let you know, but I did get it this morning. Those that did send in their information and their reports and their updates and their work, I've got it. So thank you for doing that, and I just encourage you to keep the accountability on yourself, keep doing and chipping away, and keep holding yourself accountable and sending in that information and those updates to me. I appreciate reading them and hearing them. And thank you for those that are sending in some evidence of success already from some of the things you're trying. The key, like I said before, is implementation and execution. If you just do it, it will happen and it will come, and you just got to trust that. We reviewed 3 lead gen strategies last week, and I'm going to cover off 4 today. I'm going to start with for number 1, and one may or may not be relevant right now, and maybe you can comment to the is the buy owner market in the Red Deer market. What is the opportunity like there in Red Deer with for sale by owners? Anybody comment on that?
No idea.
No idea. Okay. All right. So what we're finding in most marketplaces, everyone, is that they are a great resource, and I have coaching clients that do incredibly well with them. And I'll explain to you how to work them, and if it resonates with you and you see an opportunity, it's great. I do know one thing that we're experiencing is a lot of the do-it-your-own kind of models, like Property Guys or things like that. $650 flat fee, and we'll put it on MLS and that. A lot of the mere posting companies. Do you have mere posting companies in the Red Deer marketplace?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they do tend to get this business, but in a market where it's not easy to sell a listing, then they're a tremendous opportunity for a market where we're not seeing sellers getting lucky, right? So I have seen agents in coaching, this has saved their careers. They've crushed it. They've done well with it. So I'll just share with you, one of my individual agents came to me, and within 1 year, he did over 6 figures in 1 year just on buy owner markets. So I know that I know it works, and I know the system I'm going to share with you is definitely effective. It just depends on their seasons, where it's more difficult for somebody to get lucky on their own, and it's more difficult for organized real estate to sell listings that aren't properly priced and positioned, then they're not selling. Then these are definitely an opportunity because they come up all there. So the old school method was this: we would tell a buy owner that they're stupid, that they're crazy. We would scare them, we would intimidate them, and we would tell them bad things and let them know that they'll probably get stabbed and murdered and all that. And all we did, probably by the old methodology when we first learned and first got in this business, when I did 20, 30 years ago, was we kind of just confirmed that we're idiots and we don't like you, and we don't like you even more after you tell me that I suck and that I'm stupid and that I won't sell it on my own and this and that. So I met a gentleman that was one of my mentors, and he taught me to go at it at a different angle. Instead of threatening, instead of reinforcing, instead of scaring them, instead of being that person, we just basically position ourselves that we're in the business to help people sell homes, and they need to sell a home. And I want to earn their listing, and I want to earn their possible purchase opportunity, and I want to earn their referrals. So think about this, right? So I'm going to earn that by reciprocity, by helping them and serving them. And in exchange, why I'm helping them and serving them, is I'll be transparent, is that if they sell on their own, guys, with your help, the tendency to buy with you is greater. Would that make sense? Think about it. You helped them sell by themselves, and your advice and what you did and what you shared with them allowed them to do that successfully on their own and save that money. So I'm just asking for an opportunity to consider me when you buy after you've sold on your own. The next opportunity is the statistics say that if you're an assistant to them and you help them facilitate their sale on their own, they feel like they owe you as well. And then they're going to refer you to other friends, family members, and coworkers. How many people would like that to happen if they could possibly buy from you if they sold on their own and they possibly referred you in the future? So Mark McKee was the mentor that taught me this. And he was like, basically, I hope that I successfully help them sell on their own because I like my chances and the response is higher for them buying with me and them referring me in the future in the next 12 months if I was able to help them facilitate selling on their own. Okay. I know it's a weird mindset in that. So we're going to kill them with kindness and help them. And we're going to earn the ability. Why I'm doing that is because I'm in the business of helping people do it anyway. So I may as well help you as well while I'm doing that. And I like to know what the market inventory is on the MLS system and off the MLS system, because I want to know what the inventory is on both ends of the spectrum, if that makes sense. Okay. So then why do I their mindset is I want to save some money. Okay, we've got to respect that. Just like we want to respect the anonymity of an online agent, we want to respect that they want to save some money. They know somebody that did it themselves and was successful. My brother, no disrespect, he's a teacher. I wouldn't want him as a client. God bless him. But he's smarter than everybody on this call. That's just my brother, and he sells his own homes, all that, and he should, because I wouldn't want him as a customer. But at the end of the day, they're smarter than all of us. They don't want to pay the fees. It's not that difficult. There's certain demographics in certain professions, or if you've come from a teaching background, or if you're an RCMP, sorry if I'm stereotyping, but at the end of the day, they're not a fan of real estate and organized real estate, and they don't believe in the power of the MLS anyway. So I'm just going to respect that and honor that and just keep moving and staying the course. So why do I love them? Number one, they already own a home. That helps. Number two, they already want to sell. That helps me too. Okay. Number three, they're not only just a seller, but they're a potential buyer as well if I'm helping them sell on their own. And if they're unsuccessful, then they may end up listing. And last but not least, if I'm helpful and I'm helpful enough, then they'll refer me to their friends, family members, and coworkers. So would you agree, show of hands, there's a lot of upside there, right? I'm on the long play and I'm on the give to get play, and I'm playing the long play here and working them and helping them. Okay. So how do we do that and how do we work around it? So you've got to find the places where you can find the by owner websites, where you can find the classifieds, where you can find, so you probably start by Googling by owner Red Deer and start looking at all the different sources in that. And that's where you're going to find all your resources for people trying to sell on their own in your marketplaces. And you're going to create that database of addresses and create that resource of addresses. That is step number one. Find them, find the addresses, find where they're marketing, find where they're advertising, and start building that database and that database of addresses first. Okay, that's step one. Then step two is I'm going to build my tools in my toolkit to help them and give them. So Mark says, help them, kill them with kindness. Why are you doing this? Why are you helping me? Well, this is what I'm doing it and why I'm doing it. If I help you and you're successful, the statistics say that you would possibly buy, and I'd hope that you'd consider me to buy with. Okay. And that you would refer me and that I would consider referring me. Okay. So they're going to try, write this down, on average 7 to 10 weeks themselves. Okay. So that means that I have to keep coming back and checking in with them for the next 7 to 10 weeks. So I pick FSBO Fridays as my visit day for 7 to 10 weeks from now. And I make a list of all of the items and put my resources and put my items together, right? And then I'm going to show up and deliver the FSBO Fridays materials, okay? So material number one, I show up in person. Why? Because I want them to get a sense whether they like me or they trust me. So I ring the door, I introduce myself, I let them know that I specialize in home selling in the area. I noticed they had a sign. Is your home still available? That's my opening dialogue. And then as a specialist in the area, I like to know what's on the MLS and off the MLS. And I just have a few quick questions and I'll be on my way. Would you be okay if I asked you a few questions? Number one, what would your thoughts be if I had a buyer for this home? Would you be interested in cooperating with me? Question number one. Listen to their response. Question number two. In order for me to know if I have a buyer for your home, I need to see it. Would I be able to see it? And would now be a good time for me to see if I have a buyer for it and keep record of it? And number 3, could I tour through it, and could I take notes, and could I take information while we're touring through your home? If today's a good time, if not, when would be a good time for me to come back and see it? Okay. So I'm looking for them. And most people will be like, they just want to save money, and would they cooperate? And if they do it for half, most people would say, yeah, absolutely. I need to see it. Can I take a look at it? When can I preview it? That I can keep it in my repertoire of off-market listings and properties that are available in that. I'll do my best to find a buyer, and I'll bring that buyer by. Okay. So before I leave my first visit, I leave them with a booklet, and I'll send this to Chad today, and it'll get out to you guys, a booklet on helping you sell your house yourself. And it's a booklet that you can leave with them and leave behind and give them to them as a parting gift before you leave on your first initial contact. Okay. Any questions on where to find them? Any questions on getting the addresses? Any questions on what to say when you go up to the first contact, and where you do for your intro, and any questions that you're asking them to kick off things and that with the questions? And then I will send the booklet on how to sell your house yourself, and you can leave that behind as touch and value add number 1 is the booklet, okay, on your first initial. If I tour the home, I'm going to ask to take notes, photos, measurements, and that for my own resources and records, but I'm also going to offer to create item number 2. Here's item number 2. Booklet's item number 1. Item number 2 is I'm going to create unbranded feature sheets and bring a stack of unbranded feature sheets to help you to sell your house. So here's a booklet on how to sell your house, and in a number of days after, I'll come back with some Royal LePage unbranded feature sheets as item number 2 on the following Friday to hand out to them. So if you look at this little this gift bag here, these are the ones that, this is John Yetman in my office that I used he did about 6 figures in a year and did FSBOs. This was his package that he left with a letter explaining why he came by and if they would cooperate. So he used the letter in my dialogue in that previous slide in this package and left the book on how to sell themselves, and asked he'll be in the area to come by to come and preview and tour the property, and that he'll follow up with them. So that's what his packaging looked like, what he left at the door with the booklet rolled up and his letter why he was there and that he missed them, and he'd love to come and preview it, and he'd love to come and assist them, and he'd love to be a resource for them to try and help them sell themselves. Okay. Item number 3, you could bring a complimentary contract. Item number 4, you could bring them a CD-ROM or a zip file or a drive, a flash drive of their photos. You could bring them an offer to write classified ads for them. You could bring them your feature sheets. You could create a YouTube video for them. You could help them assist in posting on their Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Pinterest. You could create a single listing website for them. You could bring them a guest registry booklet to track who's coming in and out. You could bring them a complimentary for sale by owner sign and have it installed for them. You could bring them their just listed postcards to hand to the neighbors. You could bring them a CMA package. You could bring them open house tips. You could bring them a package on staging tips. You could bring them sample ads. You could help offer to refer them to your videographer or your iGuide person or your Matterport person and refer them and help them get that set up. You could help them with home selling tips. You could have an info box for their feature sheets that you could add on the sign. Does everybody get the point? There's endless amount of things that you could provide for them every FSBO Friday. And all you do is you just do a Excel spreadsheet with all the addresses on the left side column and then all the items across the top. And every Friday I drop something off, I check it and I check it, I check it. It's a really high level, high digital, high technical tracking system for FSBOs, isn't it, guys? Right? Simple little spreadsheet, simple little board that the address is down the left column, the items across the top column, 10 items, 10 weeks. And at the end of the last 10th week, tell them, I'm done. This is it. You're on your own. I've given everything. And then they'll be like, wait a minute. Well, if that's it, would you consider maybe continuing to work with us? Okay. So make sure you let them know that this is item number 10. You're done. And I just automatically just make my schedule and my regime for my FSBO Fridays and drop out those items and that. And again, if I keep getting asked, why are you doing this? Why are you helping me? I'm hoping that you would consider buying. If you're not able to sell on your own, you consider listing with me. And thirdly, you refer me to a friend, family member, or coworker, and they go, it makes sense. Any questions about the items? Any questions about finding them? Any questions on what to say on the initial door knock or visit, or leaving behind your package with your cover letter and follow them again in person? Any questions on, does it matter if I just made up FSBO Friday? Does it matter what day? Does it matter what time? No, it doesn't. Doesn't matter day and time. Okay. And your whole premise, be transparent and authentic and real. This is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm helping you. Okay. Any questions on for sale by owners, guys? Kill them with kindness, kill them with content, kill them with tools in the toolkit, and that they already own a home, right? They already want to sell. They just want to try and save. So let's honor that and let's try and help them. And let's see if we can't pick up a referral, a buy, or a listing if they're unsuccessful. Any questions, any comments, any concerns about the buy owner process and that? Does that make sense to everybody? How more helpful it would be and how more impactful it would be if you give to get versus threatening and telling them and not helping them. We're good? Awesome. Lead gen item number, next one, guys. So I'm going to do the door knocking. So this is becoming really, really excellent and effective. So when I started my career pre-sales, I responded to an ad in the Vancouver Province newspaper that said, a university student make $10,000 in a summer. So I responded to this ad. I went down to Georgia Street, blew the dust off my suit blazer, got in there, interviewed, and got this job. Little did I know that they hired every university student there, and everybody got the job. But at the end of the day, guys, what it was is I sold encyclopedias door to door in the summer of 1992 in Saskatchewan. I knocked on 300-400 doors a night. I was told where to go and how to get there more times than anybody in this call today. But I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about rejection. I learned so much about sales. I just learned so much about, it's probably the best training and the best experience of my life. And it turned out I was pretty good at it. And that was led to me to getting into real estate and getting my real estate license and avoiding being a high school band teacher. But what we're finding traditionally is that when you door knock in that, it takes time. When you get a hold of Chatty Cathy, or if you get, Talking Timmy and that, and you just take so much time. So how can we effectively do the essence of the door knock, right, and still be effective and not get trapped or not get caught, right, doing this? So what I'm going to say today was, back in the day, it was full contact. It was belly to belly. They needed to see you. They needed to talk with you, needed to speak to you and understand that they needed to trust you and like you, and that, you have your dialogue with them. You have your face-to-face dialogue, and your hopes is that you're trying to find that somebody that doesn't have an agent of choice and add them to your database. That's goal number one. So write this down. Goal number one was to find people that didn't have an agent of choice already. So what script did I tell you about that you use to test people whether they have an agent of choice or not? What was that script that I taught you guys in week 3? Started with an M.
Mayor.
The mayor, right? So they knock on the door, and I always use a warm call approach. Write this down, a warm call. Do not cold call, do not cold knock, do not cold tuck. Only warm knock, warm tuck, warm call. Okay. And I'll explain what I mean by that. A cold one is how you want to sell your house, how you want to sell your house, how you want to sell yourself. Don't do that. Please, please, please. Hi, you want to hear about the market? No. How you want to do this? No, right? Don't do that, right? Go there with value added information. Let me ask you a question to the people in the call. If I came to your door and asked you to help me place a family that cannot find something to buy, would you at least give me the time of day? Yes or no? Okay. If I came to you to share what your neighbor just listed for in the new benchmark asking price on your street, would you give me the time of day?
Yes.
If I told you what the new benchmark sale price is in your neighborhood, would you give me the time of day? If I invited you to come and peep on and nosy neighbor on your neighbor's open house, would you give me the time of day? That's what I mean by a warm call, a reason, a value. Okay. So just solds, bona fide buyers, invite to previewing, neighbor VIP neighborhood previewing of open houses, and just listeds, and and a change in the price adjustments. Those are all information and value added pieces that would add value to them. Okay? So that's the approach. Now, what I'm going to share with you now is instead of knocking and talking, I know that I got to get to so many doors when it comes to this, guys. So write this down. We need to hit 50 to 75 doors. So I'm going to ask you to take a letter and tuck the letter in the door and tuck 75 doors and then reverse knock backwards with the time that you have. Right? So I know that I have my 75 letters tucked in the door, and I know that Wade's coaching clients have affirmed that if they tuck 75 letters in 75 doors with a buyer, a just sold and buyer still looking, any of these things, I have a chance to get one, possibly two, come tell me what my house is worth letters, or calls, from those 75 letters. Now, if I knocked the old way and did it in reverse, and I just tucked a letter when somebody didn't answer the door, I don't have enough time, and I won't have enough doors and enough tucked letters to get that call to come and tell me what my house is worth. So you tuck the letters in the door, and imagine this. The difference between a letter tucked in a door, folded with no envelope, what would you think the messaging would be? Would there be a message of urgency, yes or no? Would there be a message of legitimacy? If somebody actually physically tucked a letter in a door versus mailing and telephoning like every other lazy realtor in Red Deer in Canada, right? But they took the time to tuck a letter in a door, and the legitimacy and the urgency triggers the validation that this is legit. Now, do not tuck letters if you don't have a buyer, if you don't have a sale, if you don't have a listing, you don't have an open coming. That do not bait and switch and lie and affirm why they hate us as realtors. Please do not do that. We don't need any more hate mail and hate on our industry. And that do not reinforce what they say about us to be true. Do it unless you have a legit buyer, a legit sold, a legit invite to an open house. And that just make sure it's legit and do not bait and switch, please. Okay. I will send you the FSBO booklet and the items to Chad's email and forward it on to you. I will send you a copy of the letters and what the door knocking letters and dialogues say and what they use, okay? Now, if I reverse knock, then I'm forwarding them. I'm telling them why I'm there and what I'm trying to add value to them and inform them, and then I'm mailing them before I leave. Does that make sense to everybody? So when I'm reversing backwards knock, if they answer the door, I take the letter out of the door. And then I speak with them. And I introduce myself and I let them the reason why I'm here. And I just communicate with them and talk with them. And then before I go, as I leave, I'll mayor them and ask them if they had a friend looking or buying and selling in Red Deer, who do they refer and recommend that person to? Right? And I'm looking for the opportunity to add that person to my database, because I didn't add that one person to my database. I added that 150. And if I reverse knock the letter tucks, I know I've got enough letters and doors. And before you leave the neighborhood, the ones that answer the door, if you're reverse knocking, that you pulled out of the doors, tuck them in a few more doors in the area, and then drive home and go and call it an afternoon or call it a day. Does that make sense to everybody how we tuck and reverse knock now? And why we tuck and reverse knock? Some of you are going to say, that's great. I don't have to talk to people. That's perfect. Okay? Because I don't want to talk to anybody. Some of you are like, okay, well, I'll tuck my letters and I'll knock and I'll add them to my database because I'm comfortable talking to people. That's perfect too. Either way, they both work. One, you're going to add people to your database. One, you're not. One, you're just relying on the messaging in that letter that's tucked in the door, and you're relying on the math that enough letters are tucked that you'll get that magical phone call to come and tell me what my house is worth. All right, so you've got bona fide buyer, the best letter, the best approach. The just sold, and we have other families to place, the second best. The just listed, it's a good approach, right? And help us place your new neighbor and your VIP private neighborhood viewing of the open house prior to the open house, okay? And then if you're knocking, do not forget to add them and use the mayor campaign and add them to your database at the end. Okay. Those are the warm and approaches. You could add a price reduction and repositioning of a property and the new benchmark asking price on a price reduction. You could add that in as your letter approach and your knock approach as well as a fifth option. Do not cold knock. Do not ask about offering CMAs. Do not ask about people talking about the market. That don't infuriate them. Make sure you come with a warm approach and at least give yourself a chance for them to hear you and to listen to you. Okay. There's the bona fide buyer. I'm just in the area. Could you help us? I'm working with John. He works here. I'm working with his wife, Susan, their daughter, Catherine, their dog, Coochie, right? I made a promise to them that I would find something for them. And I'm wondering if you know somebody or yourself is considering, could you help us place this family? That'd be incredibly helpful. Here's my information. Here's the information in that. Before I go, can I ask if you had a friend, family member, or coworker thinking about buying and selling, who to refer them in Red Deer? And see if I can mayor them and add them to my database. That's the buyer approach. Okay. Here's the just sold. So this property sold. There are other parties. We had this many multiples. This many people missed out. We're helping to try and place these families. Could you help us try and place these families? Okay. That's the just sold message. You've got your just listed message, right? Where you help us place your new neighbors. And nobody knows the neighborhood better. So through your friends and your contacts, then can you help us with your neighbors get on and also position and place your new neighbors in your neighborhood? Okay. Here's the info on the house and what's the benchmark sale price of what we're asking that. We'd be incredibly grateful if you could help us for that couple to move and that family to move, but also to help us place your new neighbors. And then you can come to a neighborhood VIP because, again, you can help us place your new neighbor that's going to move in the street in the neighborhood. And that we invite you to come to a neighborhood VIP open house invite, and they come 15 minutes early before the general public, and they come through there, and we're inviting them to come and help us and tell their friends and tell their family members and coworkers to come to the open as well. And then you could do one for price reductions as well. When to door knock? Monday to Friday, 3:30 to 6:30, guys. Saturdays, 9:30 to 11:30. Be out there, commit on the knock, but make sure you tuck 50 to 75 and then reverse knock, and you commit on how many people you're going to actually talk to before you quit. I would recommend 20. So I started with a brokerage called Realty World, and they had what we called Tell 20. When the office had a new listing, a new sale, had a buyer looking or an invite, we weren't allowed to give up until our time, and we would knock and talk, and we would cover 20 people. That's why they call it a Tell 20. So when I actually had 20 conversations, I could call it a shift and I could go home for the day after actually talking and physically speaking to 20 people. Okay. Out of all the people I've coached, guys, hundreds and hundreds of people, this is the feedback I'm getting of when to knock and where to knock and that. Sundays, no bueno. Don't knock on Sunday. Okay. Make sure you add value. Make sure you come with a warm approach. Make sure you know and comfortable with your dialogue. Practice on somebody and practice on your role playing in your office and your brokerage there. The key is to add somebody to your database, because if you add that one person, think about it. One person a week, 52 a year. 52 people, know another 100 people, 150 people. Do the math. That's a good year, and that's a good database, and that's a good amount of people in Red Deer that didn't have an agent of choice, and you're trying to be that agent of choice. All right, leave them with something. So the most valuable thing that most people enjoy is when I sign them to something, maybe a grocery pad. You guys have the Red Deer Rebels, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that NAR says is a pen, a branded pen, a grocery pad list, or a magnet with like some sort of like cooking measurements conversions, or a schedule of the Red Deer Rebels, or somebody sports team in that, having the schedule on, a magnet in that. Those are probably the most enjoyable, the items that people like to receive the most, is a magnet with some information on it, useful information, a branded pen, or a branded grocery pad list, or a notepad. Okay, guys? To leave behind. And I would only leave that behind to the people that I add to my database. So my number one agent residentially here is Mark Johns, and he knocks on thousands of doors a year. He still does it. He does 192 sales a year, and he knocks, and he gives everybody their grocery pad list. He gives everybody their pens and that. He has a garage full of all this stuff. So if you're poo-pooing this, you're poo-pooing the #1 guy in my office, and he's a Hall of Fame Chairman's Club member in that, and he is the door knocking, leave behind all of his swag master, and he does 190 some ends a year, guys, in my office, and he's dominated in my office for almost 2 decades now. I like this opportunity to leave a door hanger. The response in the door hanger, you use a universal one. This is like Michelle's that works for me in Lake Country. And you could add the messaging on the door hanger and leave it behind. Only leave it behind if you're knocking and you miss them, okay? A lot of residents get upset that you leave just random door hanger hangings, and then it identifies to people which houses aren't people home and they could break in. So be careful on the spray and pray door hanger approach. The letter tucked in the door is received differently than the spray and pray door knocker, sorry we missed you, hanging on their universal card that you see here, okay? Does that make sense to everybody? Any questions on door knock, on the tuck and reverse knock strategies, on the leave behinds, the universal messaging door hanger, right? Don't do a just listed, just sold a specific door hanger, because you'll print them and then you can't use them for other messaging in that. So use a blank one like Michelle's here. And then you can get these so that the bottom part is a tear away, a tear off, that they can tear off like a business card on the bottom. So Michelle's is actually a business card / door hanger that she can handwrite in. We have a buyer, can you help us? Or we just listed, or we just sold, or we have a VIP neighborhood open house. She can hang those on there, and it's perforated on the bottom, and you can order these through Vistaprint. Very, very inexpensive. Very inexpensive. Any questions about the letters, tucking and reverse knocking, about the door hangers, about the swag to leave behind on them, and the warm approach versus a cold approach? Everybody's good?
Yep.
All right. 50 to 75. That's the secret number, guys. Been told many, many, many times that that's the secret number. Okay. Next item for lead gen. Big fan. So I just have a rookie agent. Her name is Alex Henry. She's crushing it. She's had 9 expireds in 90 days come to market. And basically this is the system she's using. So I'll just share the system that we're using with her and I, with Alex and I, and how expireds has been an incredible opportunity for her. And so basically why we work the expired and why I think it's a tremendous opportunity is, number one, again, like the FSBO, they already own a home, so that's bonus. Number 2, we love them because they already want to sell. Number 3, they already are willing to list with an agent, which is great. And they're even bonus willing to pay commissions, because they were willing to pay. And most of them will try and consider if there's a message of hope and opportunity. And at the end of the day, how does this prospect get any better than for listing opportunities than anything else on the marketplace, right? Already own a home, already want to sell, already want to list with an agent, and already willing to pay commissions. And they possibly, with the right messaging and the right hope, would be willing to try and sell again if they knew that it was possible. So anybody have any idea? I'm just curious. What's your expiry rate in Red Deer for listings going on the market and coming off market and not selling? It's in the 70% here in Kelowna. It's super high. Listings that aren't selling and expiring. So homework number 1, guys, is obviously finding the expiry and finding out that and knowing what the expiry rate is. So if you were working in my office in Kelowna, guys, there was almost 5,000 listings last year that didn't sell in Kelowna. It's a lot of listing opportunities. Would you agree? Okay. So one of the things is that you have to understand where their headspace is at. They're like a giant red balloon ready to pop because they're a bit ticked off. They're a bit upset. Like, organized real estate failed them. So when Alex goes to the door, you know what the first thing she says? Hi, I'm Alex, and we've been notified that your home's no longer in the market, and I want to apologize. It must be incredibly frustrating because organized real estate has failed you, and I'm sorry for that. And can I also say that the last person you want to see at your doorstep, I'm guessing, is another real estate agent. Smile. Okay? And then I say to them, if I could ask a few quick questions and I'll be on my way, I promise I won't bother you anymore. Would that be okay? Question number one, write this down. Question number one, can you tell me what you were hoping to do when your property sold? What was your plan? What were you going to do and why did you want to sell? And listen and take notes. And then recap and summarize what you've said and what you've heard and what they've, right? And repeat it and summarize in that. Why do I want to take notes? Why do I want to recap and why do I want to summarize what they tell me, please?
So they know you were listening.
Exactly. And at the last, what would they feel like the last agent didn't do, please? Didn't listen. Didn't listen. So right off the bat, you're showing me that you listen because I'm recapping, I'm summarizing, I'm paraphrasing, and I'm asking if I heard them correctly. So why'd you want to sell? What were you going to do? Number two, why do you think it didn't sell? Let them vent. Let that giant red balloon let some air out. Well, they didn't do this. Psst. And then, oh my gosh, I was so upset with this. Psst. Right? And then they just forgot. They never this. And this one photo on the website, it just drove me crazy. And she would never fix it. Psst. Right? And you let them go off. You let them go off. You be an empathetic, sympathetic listener. Right? Let them go off. Okay? And then recap and summarize what you had heard. And honor, that would be difficult. That would be frustrating. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Okay? Last question, you ready? Are you familiar with the remarketing strategies that we use to sell homes that didn't sell the first time? Are you familiar with the remarketing strategies that our company, our team, that myself use to sell properties that didn't sell the first time? And the answer is probably most likely going to be what? No. What are your remarketing strategies? Okay. So then I'm going to, statistics say if I share one idea and close for an appointment 3 times, if I close 3 times for the appointment, for the sit down, I have a 62% chance that Eddie expired is going to say yes and we'll sit down and talk. Okay. So remarketing strategy number 1, guys, it's called the odd sale price strategy. So every agent in Red Deer, I'm guessing, like everywhere else in North America, all your listings are all the same numbers, right? $899, $599, $450, whatever else than that. When I list a property, I use the numbers 456, 789, 456,789. It's a marketing strategy called the odd sale price. So between you and I, Mr. and Mrs. Expired, I'm not exaggerating, guys. I'm going to send this to Chad and he'll share it with you. I created 35 remarketing strategies that you could share with people that didn't sell. That's one. So I asked, could I share the other 34? When would be a good time for us to sit down? They go, well, don't want to give me the time of day in that. So I share another remarketing strategy. The second one is called a Dutch auction. So a Dutch auction is where we market and advertise a property. And this one's a little bit controversial, but it works. Is that we'll advertise a property. It's going to be reduced every week by X number of dollars until it sells. It creates a buzz. It creates a stir. It creates a marketing frenzy on that listing and on that marketing piece. That's called a Dutch auction. Remarketing strategy number 3. We could have it pre-home inspected, or we could have it pre-appraisal, bank appraisal, or another strategy could be the qualifier. So write this down. I give them a sheet of the 10 questions that I qualify public before I bring them through their home. And I give them a copy of that and share that with them. And then the second sheet I give them is the 10 questions I ask the cooperating buying agent about them and their buyer before they show the property. And I give them that list of questions. How many last agents didn't qualify people and let every Tom, Dick, and Harry through an expired listing and didn't qualify and didn't have any qualifying questions? Would you agree with me? It's probably one of the top things that they're most frustrated with and that. But you have a list of questions that you qualified the public with and you qualify the cooperating agent and their buyer with before they come through physically their home. How impressed would they be with that system and with that tool and with that remarketing strategy and you giving them a copy of those questions and not telling them you have them, but showing and selling you have them? So the stats say that I give them 3 tools or 3 ideas and close 3 times. I got a 62% chance of them inviting me in. What Alex does is she talks to them. She just hears their story. She hears them that. She just patiently waits outside in that. And then she shares ideas and strategies. And then she's waiting for them to say, would you like to come in and take a look around? She tells me every single time, like, you got to imagine, this girl is brand new in my office. She's only in the business for 8 months, you guys. That's funny. She just texted me. That's so weird. And so she's only been in the business for 8 months, and she gets invited in the door, and she knows that there's 100% chance that she's bringing Krista McDermott and Kim Holmes, her team leaders, back for an appointment to do a listing presentation and get this listing and take this listing again. She says, I just wait patiently, Wade, and just smile and be kind and be nice and ask questions and listen and share ideas and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just waiting for that magical moment, that TSN moment when they're going, Alex, would you like to come in? Oh, could I? She says. He, as she's thinking to herself, I'm coming back with Kim and Krista and you're going to list with us. Nah, you're so dead. Right? 9 times. Guys, 9 times, and 7 of the 9 have sold already, and she's making bank doing this because she knows she's not strong enough for the listing appointment. So she brings one of the chairman club members in my office that she works with back for the listing, and she crushes it, and they share it together. Does this make sense on how to work an expired, you guys? Okay. Now, if they're not home, that exact script that I just shared with you, I will send to Chad in a letter that you can leave behind and tuck in the door to an expired, which is exactly what I just shared with you guys, the script and that. And there's an expired letter that you can fold and tuck and leave in the door and let them know that you're coming back the following week and you'll be in the neighborhood and call you to let you know when you're coming by. And don't leave them I'm going to give you, Chad, the slide deck to share with you guys for expireds. Please don't leave the slide deck behind, because it's like you just took the worm off the hook and gave them the worm and they swam away. And now you just gave them 36 ideas on how they can resell their house, and they're probably going to call their last realtor they had it listed with and share that package you just gave them with and relist the damn place and sell it thanks to you and your package that I gave you. Everybody promise, put your hands up. I will not leave the package behind of the 36 ideas, Wade, and give the worm to the expireds and let the damn realtor that had it before relist it and use my package to sell the dang thing. I promise not to leave it behind. Everybody put their hand up and say that. Promise?
Promise.
Promise. Don't give them the dang worm. I'll give you the tools and I'll give you the ideas, but do not leave them behind. Okay? Make them want to sit down and have you come in and hear them and talk with you and share with them. Does that make sense, you guys? Share 3, close for the sit down. You'll get a 62% chance that they'll say yes and invite you in and meet with you and book an appointment. Okay? Any questions about expireds?
I do.
Yes, please.
Those are great ideas, Wade, but according to our board, we're not allowed to go after expires.
Okay, so in your market, you can't? Okay, so then, good, that's great. So then you're going to do your tuck and knock, and you're going to intentionally, hopefully, door knock and stumble over an expired, and then go that route. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in Ontario, they knock, but they warm knock, and then they're able to strike up the conversation and share those ideas. And then, as a matter of fact, we had the house listed. Oh, no shit. Okay. That was lucky. So that's the workaround. So I do not want you to get in real estate jail and get Chad L thrown up against the Red Deer board and everything else and that's not my intention, and get Norm and Chad and everybody in trouble. What my intention is that you can use this same approach where you're asking, inviting people and this, that, and you stumble on one, and then you're able to use the dialogue and use the tools, and that you just happen to have them in your binder, if that makes sense. Okay. So it'll be more of a warm approach knock and stumbling on the opportunity to share some ideas with them. Okay. You're not legally allowed to solicit, but you're able to ask about a buyer in the area, ask about a just listed in the area, ask about a just sold in the area, and that. And then if you strike up a dialogue about the expired, would you be okay to have that conversation and share 3 ideas and ask if there's an opportunity for us to come back? Would that be okay, or would that be taboo, guys?
I think it'd be okay.
Okay. That's how they do it in Ontario, and they're not allowed to do expireds as well in Ontario. That's how they do it. Okay. right? I'll send the slide deck and the ideas. I'll send the letter and the script and that, and I'll follow that up with all the stuff and all the tools and all the dialogue and script and that. That's a great question, by the way, and thank you for bringing me up to speed on the expired. Any other questions or any other thoughts on that one? We're good? Okay, last but not least, we'll go with the next one is the open house. And so open house strategy here, one of my personal faves. I love just talking to people. I love seeing people face to face. Here's a couple of strategies and things that the art of real estate open house, the art of the mega open house. Tom Ferry does a great job of teaching on mega open houses and these open house strategies and that. I mean, at the end of the day, we all feel that we're better face to face and voice to voice. Everyone is at their best when they're belly to belly in that. The goal is obviously to contact capture, get a name, get an email, get a mobile number, right? Do the mayor campaign, do the mayor. That's the goal. Yes, a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while, and the open house may sell the house and that, but you're closing for an appointment later or you're closing for their contact capture. It's bonus if the listing sells, okay? But our goal is to contact capture with the mayor dialogue and to allow them to meet with you separately and try to get the appointment. So in my open house, I'm always asking them the questions about the challenges they're facing in the marketplace for an opportunity to share those solutions to those challenges and also to mayor them as they're leaving and as they're going at the end to contact and capture their materials. Can anybody tell me some of the stuff that you have laid out on a kitchen table for value items at an open house?
Market reports, comparables in the area, listing information about that house, bank mortgage information, write up about the area, the neighborhood, write up about the city, schools. I can't think of it all. Sorry.
Okay, good. So how do you deliver it? So do you have them laminated with a master copy sticker on them?
No, I actually keep one as a master myself, but then I make like a 20-page booklet, and each person that comes in, greet them at the door, shake their hand, take a black pen out, get their name, write the name on the book, go through the book with them, and then give it to them. But each page is personalized with my brand and contact information at the top.
Yeah.
And everybody just said, they've asked like, oh, can I get your contact information? And then they're like, oh, it's in the booklet already. Awesome. Most of them don't even know that they can keep the booklet. They're surprised when they can. So.
Okay, awesome. So you see the difference? He isn't handing out business cards. He isn't handing out feature sheets. He's handing out materials of value that deliver the unexpected. Does that make sense? And they're like, oh, and I get to keep this booklet too? Are you kidding me? Right? So he's delivering that unexpected. Would you agree that that helps you with contact capture and that helps you with attrition and appointment conversion by delivering the unexpected? Yes or no?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So think about that, delivering that unexpected. Okay. So select your properties on saleability. I don't know what it is, but there's this unwritten rule that if they have to take too many streets or too many turns from a main thoroughfare, it's not a good open house. They'll stop driving down too many streets and too many turns. Does that make sense to everybody? A date of the week. I think any day works. Any time works. I don't think it matters. I think it's a myth. Working it with someone else, not a bad idea for safety, not a bad idea for controlling crowds. Always, if it's not your listing, preview it and preview all the other properties similar to it that are on for market so you can actually talk to them when you're at the open. Does that make sense? So you preview the house if it's not your listing, plus you preview other opens or other properties similar to that are similar to that, so you can talk to them when they come into your open house. I love the idea. I do the Google driving tour of the other listings and give them the driving directions of driving around all the other listings similar to the one I'm opening housing that. And then I ask them to do me a favor. I'm going to give you this driving tour of all properties that are similar to this one to drive around in that. In order for us to work in our industry, I'd ask you one favor. Could I give you one courtesy that you'd ask me to show them to you and possibly write an offer on your behalf? Because that's how our business works. As a courtesy, if you see value in driving around in these other listings and these driving instructions and this tour, and you want to see some of them, could you text me and ask me to show it to you and ask me to write on your behalf? I would be incredibly grateful for that opportunity. I'll give you the tour sheet, but as a courtesy, I'd love the opportunity to show it and love the opportunity to negotiate and try to write on your behalf in return for the sheet. Okay. Other items. Anybody want their ads to actually make the phone ring and people to call you? So stop putting the finish time in your open house ads. So my only start times are advertised, never the finish time. Do you know that people call me and ask me how long I'm going to be there and give me their name and phone number, and they come up early and it triggers and lead contact generation that? And I don't have to do a sentence now. I don't have to do a 2, 3, 4 hour sentence where a place doesn't have anybody there. So I can leave whenever I want. People come early. People actually call my open house ad because I don't have the time there. I only advertise open at or open from times and never the completion time. Sometimes I have food and beverage. Sometimes I have entertainment. I love using the Open Home Pro app. It's a tablet app. It's so good. It's called Open Home Pro. Anybody have the Open Home Pro app on tablet? Great tool, great app. Open Home Pro. It has a little survey in it. It has anonymous feedback in it. It has a sign-in registry for security purposes. Great little tablet app and a tablet that I use when they sign in for that. You can put things like on a pre-open house website, create your own. We have one that's Open House Kelowna that our brokerage has. So all the open houses, we have a gentleman that created an Open House Kelowna website for our brokerage, and every feed that comes off the MLS goes into that open house, and every open house of every company is downloaded and comes onto our openhousekelowna.com website every week. So my open houses for our brokerage are incredibly busy. And we get a lot of lead from it from that Open House Kelowna website as well that we generated. You can have your joint open house. So ask the agents with other listings in the area. The more listings, the more traffic, the more people, the more activity, if that makes sense. Doing a Facebook Live, doing a reel, sending out emails, sending out social media blasts and that. Anywhere we can possibly do it. Can anybody tell me where you tend to get the best response or the best feedback that people tell you they saw your open house ads? Anybody tell me where it is in Red Deer?
All the ones that I've been hosting this year, the majority have been signs.
Signs?
I have about 50 signs that I put out that directs people in long ways away.
Amazing. Good. Yeah. So in Vancouver, guys, Craigslist. I don't know why. That's the number one thing. And then for us, it's realtor.ca for Kelowna. So Craigslist is Vancouver, right? Realtor.ca is the number one for us. Okay.
That's the other one. It's quite a bit. There's signs, and then realtor.ca is the top one that people.
Awesome. So you do your tell 20. Does anybody put a topper on their for sale sign the week prior? Open Saturday, 10 a.m. and put that topper and that rider on the sign for the week before? Do you do that as well, Vern?
We can't do that in Red Deer. Red Deer has a bylaw that you can only have it up 3 hours before and 3 hours after.
No, but what about a topper on your for sale sign, Vern?
For the open house? Oh, yeah.
So go get toppers made, guys, that say, like I always did. I was telling Vern, I did 10 a.m., 12:30 and 2:30, or 10, 12, and 2. I did 3 in one day, and I put a topper up the week before that says open Saturday 10 a.m., open Saturday 12 p.m., open Saturday 2 p.m., and it's up there the whole week on the for sale sign prior to the open. I never did them on Sunday. Everybody here swears that Sunday's the best day. I made more money on selling homes in Penticton and Kelowna on Saturday open houses than I could shake a stick at. And I love doing evening ones. On the summertime, evening ones were amazing. The drive at 5, like 5 and on. And the other ones was if you're new and you have no business whatsoever, just throwing up a bunch of signs like our friend was sharing there to a vacant listing and doing that any day, every day. Watch how many leads you get from a vacant listing that you could do opens every day and any day for another agent. Look for vacant listings and do them every day, anytime with a whole bunch of signs. You'll get traffic and you'll get leads and you'll meet people at those opens any day, any time of the week. Here are the different sign options. So Vern, I'm guessing that you had a lot of these, like these little mini arrow direction signs and that.
I got 5 from Amazon with those. I've got 8 sandwich board signs,
Yeah.
and then I've got 3 11-foot flags.
Awesome. Awesome. So he's got the full meal deal, guys. And this 100% I can confirm is the secret sauce. The more little mini signs. And do you have your face and your branding on all of them? Because doesn't that make most their mini billboards now for you in your business everywhere?
Yeah, I've printed. They didn't come with that, but I printed it off and like taped it to each one of mine, my brand, my
Yeah.
picture, my contact information.
So imagine if your sandwich boards, your mini guys, your flags, and that all have it like this Jane Evans one with your mini branding all over them, right? Your face and your picture and your image with your name and your cell phone number. That to me makes sense on all of these signages, on all of them, right? What a great, they're just like all kinds of ultra mini billboards all over the place during your open house exposure in Red Deer.
A point on that, Wade, I found that it's the consistency, because if they get wowed by one open house and then they see the same type of sign again, they're like, oh, I've been to that guy's open house before.
Yeah.
Because I've had multiple people come back from seeing my sign.
Yeah. And you're working harder than everybody else. You may not be, but the perception's there, right? And then I'll get people where I won't even have a listing. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, we've seen your sign everywhere. That's great. I don't have a listing right now, but that's amazing. I don't tell them that, but they'll say, oh yeah, we saw your face and we saw your sign everywhere. I'm like, sweet, music to my ears. It's probably just from the open house ones, right? Not from the listings. Here's the Open Home Pro app, guys. This is one with the tablet and that. Statistics, graphs, tracking, tips, financing options. It's such a great app. Check it out and add it to a tablet. Here are some of the items. Everybody wins a wine draw at my open house. So I've picked up more buyers by hand delivering a bottle of $8 wine on Monday after my open house with a thank you for attending and congratulations and 2 cards on it. People are like, oh my gosh, I never win anything. Thank you so much. By the way, while I've got you, you seem like somebody we'd like to work with. Would you mind working with us then? Everybody wins my wine draw. I put in things like how I create and find listings for buyers that aren't on the market, like this open house, like this platinum home purchase plan, the home sellers protection plan. I'll add some items that you can add to your arsenal, like this one here, guys. So this is how I find off-market properties for a buyer. It's called my platinum home purchase plan. Be a good tool in a market where there's little or no inventory? Heck yeah. The home seller's protection plan, how you can list and how I'll insurance policy and protect you that your home won't sell and you'll be homeless. It's another visual I have that I have laid out as well. And I laminate them and I put my original copy sticker on them and that. And some people are smart enough to take pictures of them on their phone, but most people will give me their contact information in exchange for me to send it to them. And again, outside the box, add value items. Don't deliver the expected, deliver the unexpected, like our friend was sharing. Wear your name badge, right? Focus on one couple at a time. I love it that I'll put up a sign that says, thank you for your patience if you got a busy one. And if they leave, no problem. They weren't qualified anyway. Okay. Ask them thought-provoking questions about the challenges they're facing in the marketplace and focus on sitting with them and sharing what those solutions are and the challenges in the marketplace. And you'll buy the coffee and you'll meet them. Okay. Have a safety plan, have a code word, have an app, right? Let the person at the office know that you're at this listing by yourself and that. Sadly, you have to have this, guys. You have to be safe. Please be safe. Okay. It's become a thing. This is kind of neat. This is an app that you can actually do a credit check called Cleared, a safety security check on people before they come in if they're willing to give you an ID. It's called cleared.com. Kind of cool. These are virtual open house websites. You can build your virtual open house websites. So you could have open houses of your listings running 24/7. Another good lead capture besides our Kelowna open houses one that we have. And bonus items. Only talk about the property that you're hosting because you're respectful of the seller there. You can do 3 in one day, a 10, a 12, and a 3, or a 10, a 12, and a 2. Evenings and weekdays in the summer, try it. It works. Vacant properties, open house them all day long if they're vacant and hit up their agent that's got the listing agent. Offer to host a mega open house at a by owner or an expired. Okay. Invite the expireds to your open so they can see how you do it. The card and wine draw, make sure everybody wins a card and a thank you card and a bottle of wine and that. And luxury listings, the last little nugget, if you have a high-end listing, create an event. Create a high-end luxury evening event at the property, right? And have like car dealers with cars in the driveway and clothiers and jewelers and have like create a high-end luxury event and have your seller who knows other high net worth people invite them to that high net worth luxury event. Anybody got some high-end luxury listings in Red Deer properties?
You got the one, Tammy? That's one.
Oh, that was Chad's, but it's a foreclosure and I think it has an offer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we don't.
So does everybody understand the difference between an event, a luxury high-end event, versus where you're hosting and you're showcasing the property one evening to high net individuals in the community? Your luxury listing sellers love that idea, you guys, just so you know. If you want a great opportunity to go after high-end listings, unless they're not selling, because they cost a lot for marketing and what they expect to be marketed at, that's a great angle for you to create an event for them and showcase the properties and have an event there. And then you get all the different clothier, RVer, boat, car dealer and that to share in the expenses to be there to showcase their product and inventory at that event and share in the cost of that luxury event, so it doesn't cost you a whole bunch of money and you go bankrupt hosting these events.